In this short video, I will be explaining Codeforces website, some features that are available on Codeforces. So before I start, I just want to say what Codeforces is. Codeforces is a website that hosts competitive programming contests, and many people use Codeforces to prepare for these competitions, whether locally or globally. And you can read more details on Wikipedia. But for us, let's go directly to the website. Here is the top bar, which contains some features. For example, you can see contests, problem set, groups. Let's start with groups because it's the most important thing for us. You can join many groups on Codeforces, and those groups are created by students, volunteers, so they contain some contests, whether university level, local levels, or even global levels. So this is a group that is managed by me. I created it for our university training. Contains different contests. Now for a user, he can request to join a group, or he might be invited to join this group. If you are invited, you will find the invitation here. After you accept this invitation, you can see the group under this tab, groups. So some contests require registration. For example, this contest, you cannot join it unless you are registered. Usually the managers of the contest will register the participants. So if you have a contest, you will find yourself already registered. So let's take an example contest. For example, this contest. You can see there are multiple problems. There are the following tabs that might be useful. For example, problems. To view the problems, here you can submit a code. You can select the problem. We will come back later. My submissions and status. This is for everyone. The status for everyone on this competition. Standings, which is the scoreboard. Let's see a recent contest, official Codeforces contest standing. For example, this one. This is an official Codeforces contest. It's not part of our group, but I want to explain how the scoreboard, this is called standing or scoreboard, the same thing. How this is calculated. For example, why this person got the first rank, and so on. You can see, for example, those two. This is the problem A, B, C, D, and all these are all the problems, and we can see that this person, this, those, both of them solved all the problems, but one of them is ranked first and the other is ranked second. This means he is an official participant. He didn't participate in the contest live, but this is not important for now. As we can see, those are the problems. He got, for example, in problem I, some verdict like time limit exceeded on pretest 7, time limit exceeded twice. This will affect his score. And what is this? 16 minutes. This problem was solved after 16 minutes from the start of the contest. This problem after 23 minutes, and so on. For example, this was solved, the last problem, after 2 hours and 56 minutes. These are the scores for each problem. Some contests do not have scores for each problem, which means for each the score for all the problems is the same. And you can see this is the full score 500, but he got 479 because to get 500 you need to submit it at 0 minutes. For example, this he got 499 because he submit after 1 minute, but this got 479 because he submitted after 16 minutes. So the earlier you submit, the better or the higher the score you get. Also, there is another thing that affects your score, which is the wrong submissions. For example, you can see for this problem, he got 1,890 out of this total score. His score was affected by the time, 2 hours and 56 minutes. Also by the wrong answers, because he got time limit exceeded on British 7, and time limit exceeded, he got time limit exceeded twice. And for each time limit exceeded, he will get extra 10 minutes. Here we have two wrong submissions, which means 20 minutes added to this time. So he actually submitted not on, it will not be counted as 2 hours and 56 minutes, it will add 20 minutes to it. So let us go to our group again. So this is the group, and this is the practice 01 contest, and here is the standings. We can see those are the participants. It is the same, but there is only one difference. The problems do not have scores, which means all the problems have the same score. Same things for the time, and this counter means this user got it wrong twice before the first accepted submission, and we can see it here, wrong answer on test 1, wrong answer on test 2, which means he actually submitted on his time shown here after 1 hour. But it will be counted as 1 hour plus 20 minutes, which is 1 hour and 20 minutes. Same applies for everyone. This got it 4 times, which means 40 minutes penalty. So this round is already finished. There are, for example, one important thing on Codeforces, after the official round finishes, you can see, let me go back to official contest. For example, this one, you can see the solutions for other users. You can see this, for example, by just double clicking on this. Then choose this number. You see the solution. If you are interested to see different solutions for the same problem, you can check this way. Back to our group. In private groups, this depends on the organizers or managers of this contest. For example, you might not be able to view this solution. It might be hidden. It depends on the managers again. Some of them make them available while others not. Now I want to talk about how to read the problem statement. Uh, the problem statement consists of three major parts. This is the statement itself, the description of the problem, and here we can see the input section, which is describing how what exactly the input is, and this is the output format, and of course you should exactly follow this output format. Let us read this problem. The problem basically says you are given 3 integers. Also you have the example sections. This is, you can use it to verify your understanding of the problem, your understanding of the input section. You read the input section and you make sure your understanding matches what is written here. Let's start by reading the problem. You are basically given 3 distinct integers, A, B, and C, and you are asked to find the median number. The median number is the number that comes in the middle when you sort the 3 numbers either in ascending or descending order. It is written even here. Okay, this is another way to say it for 3 numbers, and this is another example. You can, for example, verify your understanding. Let us read the input section. The input section is very important. The first line says the first line contains a single integer t, the number of test cases. So when we go here, 9 is the first line, which is the number of test cases. The description of each test case consists of 3 distinct integers. So this is the first test case, 3 integers. This is the second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, up to ninth. We can see there are 9 examples or 9 test cases. When we read the input using our language, we should abide by this input section. We should precisely follow this input section. Then when we output, we should also follow this format. For example, in the input section, do not prompt the user to enter an integer, or do not prompt the user to enter 3 integers. Do not use the prompt, the text. Even for the input, don't say something like the answer is, or whatever. So let us solve this problem using Python. I already have the solution, but I will remove it. Let's come back to the problem statement. It says the first line contains a single integer t. So we need to read the test cases first. Let us just read an integer called tests, which represents the number of test cases. Here, do not mention something like the prompt, enter an integer. No, this will cause an error on Codeforces. Do not use it. Just follow it exactly. What it says, just do it. Now we need to do a for loop or while to read the test cases. So we'll make, for example, let's make a for loop or a while loop. It doesn't matter. For I in range, this is just to iterate over all the test cases one by one. Then you need to know how Python exactly works. For example, here when you say this, for example, say line equal input, Python will read this whole line. I saw some people doing something like this: a equal input, b equal input, c equal input. No, this is wrong, because the first this will read the whole line, not only the first input. That's how Python works, to read the whole line. So let us do it. Let's read a line. For example, we call it input. Now, what is the type of this line? This line is a string. It reads the whole line from here as a string. Now, what we want to do? We want it to be like an array. Why? Because we want to. Also, you can read them as 3 integers, but I will convert this line, this string, to an array. Let's go or to a list. Let's call it list1, for example, and you can use line dot split. Now, this list1 contains. This list1 is a list of. Let me print it. Might be better. Print list1. Now, for example, if we want to test our solution, we can just copy the examples from here and then run our code to see what is the output. As you can see, we have successfully read 9 test cases. This is the first test case, and it's read here. As you can see, the list is a list of strings. We don't need it to be a list of strings. There are many different ways to convert it to a list of integers. One way is to iterate over the list, like this, for example. Let me keep it. What this basically says is for each element in list1, convert that element to an integer. Then just notice here, as you can see, this is the previous output. It's an array of strings. If we run it again using the same test case, you can see now they are integers. After we have done this, let us sort the elements. In Python, you can sort using this method. After we have sorted them, we need to print the middle element, the element in the middle. Python index starts from 0, so the element in the middle is indexed by 1. If we run it again, we can see the output is 5, 4, 2, and we need to verify if this output matches the given output or not. You can check this is the given output for this sample, and it's indeed matching this one. Now it's time to submit our solution. We can just copy it. After copying it, we can go to submit code. Here you can select, make sure, most likely the problem you are reading will be selected by default, but if it's not, you can just select it. Also, there are a variety of programming languages. You make sure you select the programming you are going to submit in. After that, we paste it and we submit. As you can see, we got it accepted. So this is the most important thing for submitting on Codeforces is pay attention. If you are asked to read multiple test cases, make sure the given input once you run your code in the ID, give it this input, copy from here, and make sure your output matches the given output in this sample. So for other languages, it is the same. For example, if we want to solve this problem using Java, it's just basically the same. We don't need this also. Those are just some speed ups. We don't need them for now. So you need to have a scanner. But for Java, there is an important note. For example, you might have the package name here, like something like package com dot usually dot example. If you have it, I don't have it here, but if you have this package, once you submit on Codeforces, make sure you remove it because it will cause problems on Codeforces. So if you have it, just once you submit, before you submit, remove it, and then you submit your solution. Now I will be just solving this problem using Java. Uh, I will solve it in a different way. I will not use an array, but for sure you can use an array. In Java, we can just say like this, scanner.nextInt, and also b equals scanner.next, and c is just the same. This is valid for Java. For Python, it reads the whole line again, but in Java, you can just read it this way. What I will do, I will find the maximum among the three elements. You can use this, for example, to find max between a, then repeat it again. You don't need to worry too much about this, but just let us do it again for the minimum. So what I'm doing currently is, sorry, there is a mistake. This should be B and C. This is the same, should be and C. What I have done is I found what is the maximum element among the three elements and what is the minimum element among the three elements. So obviously our answer will be A plus B plus C minus the maximum minus the minimum. And this is our solution. We need to test it against the given test cases. We run it and we find it matches the output, so we can just submit code. Make sure the problem is selected. Also change the language to, for example, Java 8, and submit the solution. You can see it's accepted. Also, one important note to mention is that here we can see some test cases, but those are not the only test cases. When you go to my submission, you can see this here. You can click on it. You can find the first test case, which we already know, but there are many other test cases. You can see test 2. Test 2 consists also of multiple test cases, and so on. There are many test cases. For example, for this problem, we can see there are 23 files, 23 major test cases. For each one, we will have sub-test cases again. So this is basically for problem. C++ is just simple. There are no warnings for it, but for Java, as I said, don't include the package. For Python, make sure you know how the language works, how it reads the input, and for all languages, do not use the prompts at all. Okay, now for this, I finished the most important parts. The other parts are not really that much important, but I want to mention some things about Codeforces. For example, here we have something called the problem set. If we open it, we will find many problems. You can see there are a lot of problems here. You can view them using this. But for example, each problem has a difficulty tag. For example, this is tagged 1800. This is tagged 800, and the smaller this number, the easier the problem is. You can also sort those problems. Those problems are now sorted by the recency. For example, this was a recent problem, and once you go below and here, you will find the oldest one. For example, this is the first problem, and so on. Let us now go back to our first page. We will sort the problems based on difficulty. You can click here to sort them on difficulty. So this means this is the easiest problem, 800 difficulty. You can sort in the opposite. This is the hardest problem, 3000, and so on. Now those problems are sorted from the easiest to hardest. All of those are tagged 800. After you sort them in this way, you can have another criteria for sorting, like to sort them based on number of users who have solved this problem. You can click here once more. For example, you can see this problem was solved 52,000 times almost, but it has 900 tags, so that's just fine. So another thing to know is these are tags. For example, this is an implementation problem, this is a dynamic programming, this is a graph problem, brute force implementation math. If you want just implementation problems, you can click here and you will see that all problems have implementation tag. Also, let us remove just this, and this is a filter to filter problems. You can select the difficulty. For example, I want problems just of difficulty 1300 up to 1500, and then you apply it. All the problems will be randomly selected from 1300 to 1500. This will help you to practice. As I said, for example, for the tags, you know you are weak in mathematics and you need to strengthen your skills in mathematics, you can select math tags. Once you select the math tags, it appears here, so you can select also difficulty level. I want math problems that lies within this difficulty. And you can see all problems have math tags and they are just within this difficulty. So this was for the problem set. And one last thing to mention is about Codeforces official contests. Codeforces organize almost weekly or sometimes more than one contest in 1 week. As you can see, you can go to contests and you can view the upcoming contests or even the contest history for the previous contests. Also, you can participate in the previous contests or in the incoming contest. You can see when the contest starts, the links of the contest, and you have to register before the contest starts using this if you are willing to participate in this competition. And you can see here this is something called Div 2, we have Div 4, we have Div 1, and also we have Div 3, but for example, this is a previous Div 3. So what this means, Div 1 is the hardest level. Those are, let's say, if you're experienced programmers or experienced competitive programmers. Div 2 is easier than Div 1. Div 3 is then comes Div 3. The easiest one is Div 4. As a beginner, you can participate in Div 3 or in Div 4 or even in Div 3, that's fine. So you can, as I said, you can register from here. Now, if you want to participate in a previous competition, you can just go to the problems and start solving them. Select a problem and try to solve it, or you can do something called start virtual contest. It's like a simulation of an actual contest. This might be more helpful, but it needs more time as well. So I think that's all. Let me just go back to our group. As you have seen here, we have many problems, especially for practice 01. We have multiple problems. I have solved this problem using Python and Java. Just to make this video short, I will not solve the other problems, but I might solve them in separate videos and you will find them on the channel. So that's it.